What makes life worth living? One of the most popular classes at Yale University. Students learn how to figure out where their lives hold meaning and where things need to change. It's even been taught off campus and around the world.
One of the professors who teaches that class has written a book about it. It's called Life Worth Living, A Guide to What Matters Most. And Miroslav Volf joins us now live. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning.
Good morning.
One would think, gosh, really or have we gotten so complicated that we really don't know what matters? Is that why you find this is connecting with college-age students?
I think I find that students, college-age students, but also we people in general, have a kind of difficulty with a sense of that our lives have weight, that our lives have meaning. We seem like we're caught in some kind of a hamster wheel, and we are running and running to satisfy our desires and needs. We satisfy them, and then new ones come at us because we observe what others have and we don't have, and we are kind of stuck there. And I take it that hamster wheel has never been the image of life that has been appealing to any of us humans. Yeah. For hamsters, great, but for us?
Yeah, growing up in the 80s, I feel like for some reason money was the driving force and the things that you got and the yuppie culture. But how do we reassess what is supposed to be meaningful to us?
Well, I think we first have to realize that there's a kind of sense of dissatisfaction that we are selling ourselves too short to ourselves, that our lives are much more worth than what we actually assign to them. And then step back and ask ourselves a very simple question, in fact, and that is, what kind of desires not just we have, but what kind of desires ought we have? What is this that we should want so that our lives would have, in fact, meaning?
And college is when you have the most pressure to be the most driven, to find the best career. It's going to make the most money. So do you find that students leave your class, and I know this is spread to other universities around the world now, do they leave your class with a more, exhaling and saying, maybe I don't have to worry so much?
That's at least what we are hoping to achieve. And of course, this kind of can wreck their careers. And sometimes maybe their parents are scratching their heads and saying, why am I sending these kids to Yale if they're now start stepping back and thinking about what kind of life is worth living? But I think in a sense, kind of the success in the world and success as a human being need not be contrary to each other, need not be at odds with one another. We maybe can have both. And that's really what we are trying to do, so that success that we achieve matches the success in our humanity. We have so many examples of people who have been extraordinarily successful in their careers, but have been really failures as human beings. That's what we want to forestall.
And maybe I think what you're getting at is the finding of happiness in our relationships. But I think that people find relationships can be extremely difficult. Do you have any insight as to where we go wrong and what we can do better to make our relationships more fulfilling?
I think you're right. Most of us do find our meaning in our relationships. But, think of hamster wheel, and when you're in it, you don't have time to attend to be attuned to the, say, emotions of a person with whom you are in contact, whether those are your children or those are your partners or your friends. You're always halfway somewhere else when you are actually spending time with them. And that's kind of a recipe for not having meaningful relationships, and sometimes recipe for being in a kind of relationship that is only instrumental. You use others to achieve your ends, whatever those ends are.
And you say that this is probably a big thing in the world now. You say you should embrace and not reject those who disagree. How does that help you?
We live in highly conflictual societies, and especially more we strive after our own end, more we strive after a certain form of superiority, and whatever kind of superiority that might be, the more we stand really at odds with one another. And I think it's really important to find a way in which we can honor everyone. And that requires for us to step back to realize the humanity of the other person, and therefore be ready to learn from them, although also be ready to disagree with them. There is a good, humane way of disagreeing, and we seem to have unlearned that.
Well, for more, you can check out lifeworthlivingbook.com and follow Professor Miroslav Volf on Twitter. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you.
It's wonderful to be with you.